This is one of my favorite segments that we do on Good Morning Vail. It's called our Epic Local series. And joining me this morning is our Epic Local. We have Claire Noble in the studio. I love having you here in the studio. And I'm just going to embarrass Claire for a second. She's one of my favorite people to have a conversation with because the range of where your life is taking you is just, it's fascinating. But we're going to start with just, how did you end up in the Vail Valley? Let's just start with that.
I was living in China at the time.
Of course you were, as you do.
I just had a baby, and I didn't know how long we were going to be overseas. And my husband and I talked about we should have a home base in America. And we thought about Colorado. We first came to Eagle County, looked around Vail and Beaver Creek, and we never looked anywhere else. So I guess you could say we asked ourselves, if we could live anywhere in America, where would we live? We picked here. And so we were part-timers for a number of years and then moved here full-time in 2016.
And we're so glad that you're here full-time. Now, something that I think is really just so incredible, especially given that it is Memorial Day weekend, is that you happen to be a veteran. And can you just tell us a little bit about your military service?
I wouldn't be the person I am had I not gone in the military.
Yeah.
I don't want to get choked up, but I was in ROTC in college. I went to the University of Texas, went into the service, and I was young and kind of dumb and romantic and naive. And so when the first Gulf War started, I was at a training unit. We weren't going anywhere. And I was so worried I was going to miss my moment of adventure and glory that I called our higher headquarters every week volunteering to go. And it took a few months, but they got tired of me, and so they sent me. And it was an incredible experience because that put together, like, I ran into troops from Egypt, Poland, France, England, all in this one place with a common goal. And that was to remove Saddam Hussein from Kuwait, to protect Saudi Arabia. We achieved that goal. It was the last land battle of the 20th century, maybe one of the last land battles ever, hopefully. And after that, we had two victory parades, one in Washington, D.C. and one in New York City. And I had the opportunity to march in those two parades. And the one in Washington, D.C., honestly, I don't remember as well as the one in New York City. In New York City, you march down the Canyon of Heroes. So it's where World War II vets marched. It's where astronauts marched, the Yankees when they win the World Series. And because I was in the Air Force marched last. Because we're the youngest service, the Air Force came into being in 1947. So we marched last. And you form up by height. So you can tell, I'm height challenged. I wear high heels, but I'm kind of a shrimpy person. So I was literally one of the last people in the parade.
Wow.
And as I walked along, I was right on the sidewalk, and there were thousands of people there. And it was a ticker tape parade, or, shredded paper. So by the time we were going through, it was up over our ankles. We're kind of slogging through it. But as I walked by, everybody patted me on the shoulder or squeezed my shoulder or said, thank you. And it's, one of those moments in history where America really came together. And I hope we can find our way back to that point. I just wanted to let everyone know that on Monday, Memorial Day, we're going to have a service over at Freedom Park at 3 o'clock, and everyone is welcome to join us to honor those who gave everything for us.
You see what I mean? And there's so many more things that I want to ask you. And listen, if you want to learn more about Claire, she is the new program manager of the Vail Symposium, and hopefully we're going to have you on throughout the entire summer season. But you know what, Claire? Thank you for your service from all of us. Just love you. All right. Thank you for being here. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to keep talking to Claire. I know you're jealous. And we're going to take a look at your local weather forecast next.